Sway.
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 In the morning.
In the morning.
In the morning.
Shay goes by.
Wake your punk ass up. That crust out, y'all.
You know, it's Friday, Heather. You know, I didn't want to do the Cypher today.
Right.
I've been letting the Cyphers breathe a little bit on the Fridays because I want people to really want it and appreciate it. So every now and then we go a week, we'll go 2 and not do the Cyphers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got a couple hundred people stacked up that claim they want to do the Cypher.
Mm-hmm.
You know, got a lot of people want to come up here and do the 5 fingers of death and all of that. And I tell them, man, hold your horses, pump your brakes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I met a girl named Kendra Foster last night. DB and I were hanging out, went to the Seth Rogen premiere of Sausage Party. And this may be the ultimate stoner movie of all time.
Oh.
I mean, it's an animation about talking food and a perspective of life from a food's point of view. From food's point of view. It's just ridiculous.
It's hard to explain, but it's
I can't even
hilarious.
explain it. But we were at a party last night, the after party. Seth invited us to the after party, and James Franco was there.
James Franco, Seth Rogen, Jonah Hill. Who else was there?
Stunt.
Yeah.
It was pretty star-studded.
And my man Rashidi was there with his artist Kendra Foster, and she first thing, I want to do the 5 fingers of death.
Oh.
I told her live a little bit before you walk into the 5 fingers of death. That is just not something you want to do.
It's looking too attainable.
Yeah, well, it's designed to ruin your career. If you either gonna be good enough to do it or it's gonna hurt your career. So I want you to make sure you good enough to do it. Case in point, Taylor Bennett came up here. He was good enough to do it. What'd it do? Catapulted his career. Yeah. King Los, they didn't even know about Los, came up here. Great enough to do it. Catapulted his career. Papoose, FAB. Johnny Gill did the 5 fingers of death. Made you remember. Remember that? Johnny did it.
Wow. Yeah.
Bobby Brown did it. Remember that?
Yeah, man.
So anyway, that's what happened last night. Now,
Kendra Foster to breathe.
I told her to breathe, let it breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Good
advice. Now the other day I've been talking about One Shot for a couple of days now because it's coming to fruition. So our debut is going to be August 23rd for this new rap competition show to be on BET. Yay. BET. Me and BET sat down and said, man, why haven't we worked together?
Yeah.
Right.
And so now we're working together. We're going to break new artists. What other television network is breaking new artists? Not just playing the same artists, but breaking new artists.
Yeah.
So BET is going to be breaking new artists. They got their Music Matters program. We do that at VH1 as well.
Right.
And now with One Shot, they're going to break new artists. With One Shot, every episode, we're bringing in experts to help these new artists grow and give them advice because the generations don't communicate.
Are you allowed to talk about the concept of the show a little bit in terms of will we see people eliminated each week or you can't?
I can't tell you that, Heather B.
Okay.
You will definitely see people eliminated. We started off with thousands of people in each city, 4 different cities, 4, 5, 6. Some cities had 8,000. Some people had 10,000 people show up. In Chicago, was 4,900 people showed up, and it was snow up into our kneecaps.
Wow.
They're hungry. $100,000 is at stake here. A recording contract is at stake here. Charlotte, we're going to Charlotte. We got RZA's going to join us in Charlotte.
That's dope.
T.I. and Drama are going to join us in Atlanta. Tech Nine and Twister are joining us in Chicago. Miami is DJ Khaled. We solicited the best in the business to help mentor some of these artists.
Yeah.
We're flying them to town right now. One of the people we flew into town is a Bay Area native. This dude was notorious in a great way for his eye in photography. Worked for some of the major magazines, has done work with Complex, Vibe, the list goes on. They sought after him and his talent as a video director known for creating cinematic scenes that make your video grow and become movies. You don't believe me? You can ask Tank. You can ask Chris Brown, that new Flame video. You could ask Mary J. Blige. You can ask B.O.B., Dej Loaf. You can ask them all. He's done work with them all. To get to where he is today, he's faced a lot of adversities, trials, and errors. This is a part of the story you don't normally hear. This is the part of the story you don't normally see. You might see this dude working next side A-list artist and have no idea how he got there. Have no idea that he was once lost. Got caught up in the evils of the entertainment business so much so that it put his ass in jail and sat his ass down. And he's here to tell his story today. The one and only One Shot, Mike Ho, ladies and gentlemen.
What up, Slay?
What up, brother?
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
How you
Appreciate
doing,
it,
man?
Bless.
Yo, your story is interesting, man. Yeah, you're from Milpitas?
Yeah,
originally?
born and raised
Born
in
and raised in
Milpitas.
Milpitas. That's tell Heather where that is, Mike.
Milpitas is a small town in the Bay, man.
Okay.
So it's a little cornfield, you know what I mean? It ain't that big, but a lot has gone down there, and that's where my life has started, you know what I mean? And kind of where my eyes took flight.
Took flight right there.
So Mill Peters, is that by Mill Valley? Remember I told you I went to Mill Valley, some film
Nah,
festival?
Milpitas is like right between San Jose and Fremont.
Oh, okay.
So it's like 30 minutes away from Oakland, or like 25.
Yeah.
25
Oh,
minutes
okay.
away from Oakland. A lot of pretty girls in Milpitas when I was growing up. You know, they all lived in tract housing and gated communities.
Yeah, it was like
You know,
Silicon Valley.
Kind of, yeah, edge of Silicon Valley. You grew up in a big family?
Yeah, got 3 brothers. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm Latin and Vietnamese, so our family's huge.
Latin and Vietnamese.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, can you imagine the cuisine during the holidays?
real.
Yeah,
What
Nick-
kind of foods, man?
I mean, Nicaraguan food and Vietnamese food. I mean, we have it all. You know, I got 2 every time this holiday, so I got 2 family parties. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. What kind of Vietnamese? Like slugs or stuff like that?
No, man.
What? No. Oh, okay. Yeah.
No, man.
Okay, right, go
No,
ahead.
the
Tell-
basics, you know, like pho, you know, the soup and shit like that, the rice and, you know, same thing.
Now, coming up in Milpitas, how did you break into the business? Like, was it as a photographer first?
Yeah.
Or? Okay.
You know, I've been filming since I was 11, but the photography is what really kind of took off for me. My brother was an artist, and he was doing Latin music at the time, kind of reggaeton. And one day he was like, "Yo, you should take photos of me." And I was like, okay. You know what I mean? So my boy was a photographer at the time, and he was kind of doing big things. And then, you know, he's like, yeah, I'll give you a few pointers. And I didn't know nothing about it. Didn't know anything about a camera, you know, until he put it in my hands. And I took it home and, you know, just being out of curiosity, just started taking photos of my brother. And other artists started seeing that. You know, he messed around with like San Quinn and all that. And so they started seeing the photos and seeing how it was going down. And one thing led to another. I was taking photos of the jacket, and it was like the Hood Stars and, you know, and all the guys in the Bay. So once that happened, it was like, all right, cool, I'll run with this. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And so, what was your first big break as a photographer? Like, where did you get the most exposure? Because you worked for Maxim, eventually Complex, all these different magazines.
Right. It wasn't until like I came out to LA, you know, I made a move out here. And I came out here for like a week, and I started shooting all like the girls that were really known out here. And then once I started doing the photography for the girls, like it was like a new look. You know what I mean? LA wasn't really like, oh, who's this Mike Ho kid? Like he's really taking some really dope photos of these girls. And then the magazine started to see what's going on. And then this model, Carissa Rosario, was like, yo, I got this shoot with Maxim. They're interested in using you. I was like, really? And I was like, are you serious? So yeah, so we shot the photos. They loved it. Got a full like 3-4 page spread, and after that it was like they just kept coming back, and then FHM came, and then it was just like domino effect, you know.
Domino effect. And early on, like, how did you price point your work? Like,
Right.
what would you charge, or would they tell you what their budget was? How does that work?
Well, you know how it is in the industry. Sometimes you gotta do something that's gonna rub each other's back or what's gonna pay off later. So I took it as like, you know what? I didn't even ask for money. I was like, look, let me do this. I'll do this for you as long as you put this in here. And I used that as leverage so I could charge what I needed to charge in the streets. You know what I mean?
Right.
Damn, you hear that? You hear that?
I
See,
look at the bigger picture.
This is
Yeah.
game right now. It's
Yeah.
game right now. So you're trying to get into the game as a photographer or someone to shoot video, direct videos or movies. Mike Ho is here. And I want to talk about your stint in L.A., you know, because your story in itself is a very inspirational story, but it took a while to get there.
Right.
And so I'm going to open up the phone lines, 888-742-3345. We got the video director for this movie. It looked like a movie. New Flame by Chris Brown. Mike Ho is here from the Bay Area.
What up?
Started off as a photographer. Did work with People Magazine, Halt Time, Maxim, FHM, Hip Hop Weekly, Complex. Done a lot. He's worked with as a video director for everybody from B.O.B. to Future, Wale, Wiz Khalifa, Dej Loaf, Chris Brown. And you were saying this video with Chris Brown is the one that kind of broke you over the top?
Yeah, shout out to Chris, for giving me the opportunity to work with him on this. We came on this together. But yeah, this was kind of the video that kind of like really solidified me, I would say, you know what I mean? Because I was doing a lot of videos out here, but, the labels really, they were like, okay, Mike's cool, like he's dope, you know what I mean? He's put out some good visuals, you know what I'm saying? But it was kind of hard for me to kind of break that barrier as far as like, yo, I can do the big budget shit. You know what I'm saying? If you just give me one shot.
Once again,
you know what I'm saying?
One shot.
If you just give me that, I can prove to you that I can really do it. Mm-hmm. And then it was really Chris that was like, it was a big budget video. This was huge. It still is probably one of my biggest.
What's a big budget now? Because back in the day, Hype Williams and these guys were getting like $1 million budgets.
Yeah, that was a good time. I wish I came up on that time. You know what I mean? But big budget nowadays, it all depends.
On the average,
like 250 is a good budget. You know what I mean? Anything between 250 and 350 is like a good budget right now.
Wow.
Okay.
And that's low back in the day. Like I was,
right.
I work with Jesse Terrell. That's my brother. Shout out to Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse does a lot of Latino movies and
he does a lot of big shit.
Big stuff. Yeah.
He's kind of like. We partnered up together, and he kind of brought me onto his company, Cinema Giants. So I'm one of his directors under his company. But yeah, he put on a platform. He gave us a door to walk through.
What's the Wait, what is that noise?
It's my stomach.
No, they're
It's
doing
construction.
They're rebuilding the studio next
Sirius
door.
XM bigger and better for everyone. Okay.
Okay. Damn.
PSA.
How competitive is it? Like, cause you got Lil X, you got Hype, you got all these different people that's shooting video. How competitive is it to get work?
It is very competitive, especially when you start getting into that circle where it is those guys. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're writing, like there's jobs that I'm writing on right now that Jesse's writing on, and that's my brother though. There's no competition between me and him. It's like we support each other. But I mean, there's videos and songs that I'm writing to that I'm writing against with Director X. You know what I'm saying? And and I'm like, damn, what is he thinking right now? Like, what is he thinking? You know what I'm saying? I have to put these concepts together, and I'm fighting against these guys. But it's all love at the end of the day. When I see X, it's all love. You know what I'm saying? So it's friendly competition. It ain't no like I'm coming after you. You know what I mean? Like we all really, really genuinely support each other.
Mike Cole is here.
Oh yeah, okay, so that's good. Because I wanted to ask you then, do you have to be like a whore or a brown noser? Say you out in the club and you run into, I don't know, Drake. Then you run up to him and it's just, you see Drake, you run up to him, yo, I'm a video director, let me do this. So is it like that game that you have to play too? When you run into artists, you try to get close to them to be in the circle?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it's necessarily like that, but it's definitely like that. You kind of, it's no different than how musicians are now. I think, I don't know how it was before, but I know just the way I run and how I'm moving in the streets as far as like working with artists, like I really try to get cool with them. You know what I'm saying? I can talk their language. I know the style. I know the swag. So it's a little easier for me to go, yo, Drake, what's good, man?
Yeah.
Not that I've done that yet. I met him a few
do
times,
that.
but I do want to do that. But it is like that, and especially now because everybody's a director now. So it's not like before where you can just kind of like sit back or like you're hype where I mean, the work is still coming to me. I got a great agent. I got great people holding me down to where like I don't really have to do that no more.
Right.
But it's still good just to make sure that you get the first call when that single come out. You know what I mean? If I wish I got that call when Hotline Bling come out, but X is getting that. You know what I mean? Shout out to X though, he's killed it.
Yeah, you keep bringing up X. That's your arch nemesis. It sound like.
Nah, he's killing
X,
it, man.
Damn X, you killing it.
No, that's inspiration for me, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's inspiration.
Mike, I'm thinking about when Sway started off with his intro and he was talking about how a lot of times when it comes to the entertainment industry, the focus on the story is the high points.
Right.
You know what I mean? People
Right.
like to show the end product and not the actual messy middle.
Right.
So if you're cool with it, what was your lowest point?
As far as like in my when handling the career and like what was my lowest point, man, it was when I was living out of my car when I first came to LA. You know what I mean? I was sleeping on a mattress on the floor. I had literally a fold out bed in my back, and I was going back and forth from the Bay. You know what I mean? Trying to live, eating El Pollo Loco. You know what I'm saying? And it was tough. I mean, the lowest part of my life, I think, was when I was in LA, and it was kind of like. It was like that moment, they say that like you either quit or you keep pushing. And, I hit a roadblock and, I was doing good things. I was still shooting for the magazines and FHM and Maxim and stuff like that, but the money wasn't really coming in. Like I said, I was using that as leverage for me to make money.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I started feeling myself, and I was in the club on bottles, hosting supper club on Tuesdays, thinking I was the man, but really there was nothing really behind me. I had nothing to stand for. And then, I think my arrogance got me to a situation to where, I ended up messing with the wrong people at the wrong time, and then they started harassing me, and then next thing you know, I got robbed, and then I got nothing. They took everything from me, all my money. They took my cameras, they took my computers, they took my hard drives, anything I had anything to show for, they took it.
Wow.
Then to make a long story short, I retaliated, and you know what I mean. I got arrested, went to jail, and it wasn't until I was in my cell and I was like, "What is going on right now? Like, what just happened?" I was just in LA yesterday at the club. I felt good. I was doing great, and now it's like I was stripped from everything. I had nothing to show for it. I couldn't even come out and be like, "Yo, I had nothing." I couldn't even work. I didn't have no camera. It was tough. I mean, that was the lowest part of my life, and it wasn't until I got, my brother.
Wait, hold up. When you got robbed, were you at gunpoint, or they robbed you when you weren't looking?
When I wasn't looking, they caught me slipping.
Wow.
Okay. And these were people that you thought were your friends or affiliated to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna
Get into it. Okay.
Yeah.
And you retaliated.
Yeah, I kind of like didn't know who did it, so I kind of took it. I acted irrationally. Now that I'm wiser, I would have done it a little bit differently because it led me into a place that I didn't want to be. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So
you're in this jail cell,
right?
and who's in the jail cell with you, Bubba?
Yo, let me hold on, sir. Let me tell you this story. I was in this cell and there was this dude in there. It was so funny because I got in there, right, and the first thing he looked at me and I was like, all right, I'm gonna take the top bed. He's like, yo, I sleep in the top one. I was like, all right, well, I'll take the bottom. I sleep on that one too.
Oh no.
And I was like, how do you do that? Like, you just, how do you, at the same time? Really? You know what I mean? And he was trying to be hard, but I think I had to break that ice. You know what I'm saying? I kept joking with him, and I just didn't take anything serious. He tried to play me or he tried to joke around and clown on me, but I would take it and I would just like, oh, okay, and I would say something back that was funnier. And it got to the point where he's like, all right, man, you know what? You're a funny guy, huh? And I'm like, look, man, I'm just trying to be cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't got no problems. And then we got cool, and he was like, all right, this is what I do. Just don't, you know what I'm saying? Just stay out my way. And I was like, look, I'm just going to be on the top bed thinking about my life right now. You know what I'm saying? Look at this ceiling and say, why am I here? You know what I mean? And that was basically it.
What did you figure out on that top bed staring at that ceiling when you asked, why am I here?
Right.
That was, what's funny is that was the biggest moment of clarity in my life. You know what I mean? I was sitting there and I was thinking about my family. I was thinking about my mom and what she was thinking about my brothers and my dad, and just kind of like what happened? Where do I go from here? Like, what is God trying to tell me? You know what I mean? And I realized that I just needed to get my shit together, and that my priorities were messed up. You know what I'm saying? And that I really needed to focus and do what I needed to do while I was out here for, like, to make videos and do film, and not the extra shit. You know what I'm saying? Like the club and the partying and drinking and trying to show out and trying to buy things that I couldn't afford and trying to live a lifestyle that I wasn't ready for. And that's what happened, was I was trying to pretend someone I was not, when I know I just had to be myself. And the moment I chose to be myself and found God and, gave myself and was reborn, it's like Jesus showed me the path, and that was after that, this is where I'm at.
Wow.
Yeah. Bless
Mike Cole, man.
To you for that, Mike.
Yeah.
So how do you? It sounds like you did so much when you did have money, and I know a lot of times when you have it, you share, you give. So when you get out, did somebody like hit you off? Did somebody give you a package and go, yo, here's a camera again? Like, how did you actually get back on your feet?
This is a beautiful thing. I'm glad you asked me this. Like I said, at that moment I had clarity, and when I got out, my brother was seeing that I was in trouble, and he was like, look, you know what? Check this out. There's this thing at this church I go to called Band of Brothers. You know what I mean? There's no judgment there. Everyone's going through shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think you just need Jesus in your life. And as that time, I believed in God, but I wasn't spiritual yet. I wasn't like that. I went to church because my mom told me to go. You know what I mean? I prayed because I know it was good, but I didn't have that spiritual connection with him. I just did it to do it, and I didn't know who I was talking to. Then he took me to this Band of Brothers thing, and I realized that my life wasn't so bad, because I was like, oh my God, this is the worst. And my brother's like, look, chill out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you fine. And I went in there, I was like, there's people like that murdered people. There's like pedophiles and stuff like that. But then everybody was not judging. And, they're there because of one thing, and that was God. And it wasn't to that moment where I realized, you know, I got to make a change. And the pastor, you know, my brother told the pastor about me and what was going on, and he was like, "Are you ready to give yourself to Jesus Christ?" And yada yada yada. And I was like, at that point, I was like, "What do I got to lose?" Yeah, absolutely. He's like, "But you got to make sure that you're gonna change your path and you're gonna let Him take control, and you can't do nothing no more." I was like, "Hey," and he was like, "But I promise you'll get everything back plus more." I was like, "What do I?
What do I sign up
What
for?
do I sign? Give me the pen. Give me the pen."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I did that, and you know, he put his hand on my head, said this prayer for me, and I felt this amazing energy that I never felt before. I know on TV they like shake and you know do this crazy shit. Nah, for me it wasn't. It was a different experience. And then after that, literally when I walked out of there, to answer your question, within literally 2 weeks, I got my camera back, I got my computer back, I went from living out of my car still. Within a month, all this money started coming in. I got a call from G Unit, got my first video with like a label that premiered on BET. It was like the new joint of the day. Got signed to a production company. The checks started rolling in. Within 1 month, I had a loft in downtown, and you know my Charlie Wilson video that I did was like nominated for 2 Grammys and Best R&B Performance, and then like it was just all started coming in, and I was just like, oh my God, that passion was not lying. Jesus came and was like, man, I got you, Brad. Yeah.
That's dope.
You know what I mean?
No, thank you for sharing that.
That's
Did Jesus actually count the money like
Yeah.
that? That was like a stripper gesture you just did right there, man. Okay,
Oh no, it was probably like a bag.
Okay,
You know
good.
what I'm saying? I got you.
A cotton bag. and so now, Mike Ho is not only going into doing more video directing, but making movies now.
Yeah. I just signed with I partnered up with Max Screws. And I'm helping him produce a couple films and direct a couple of them with Lionsgate and Sony. So that's like the biggest move for me. That's like exciting because that's what I got the industry for, was to really do films. And I love doing music videos, but my passion's in narrative work, telling stories. So that just happened like a week ago. So it's big.
And he's acting. We brought him on board to be a mentor for a thing we're going to do with One Shot. And our one-shot contestants, a part of a task that they're going to have to go through, becoming a well-rounded artist. I can't speak too much up on it, but Mike Ho is going to be a mentor in this process, so he's giving back to up-and-coming artists, and that's why I wanted him to come on the show and tell his story.
Nice.
What advice do you have for folks, like not so much on how to make it, but how to make through it? Y'all, when it comes to this music business, because those temptations that you face, everybody, Chris Brown, all these people you work with, Charlie Wilson got an amazing story to tell, being addicted and being sober.
Right.
As we know, Chris Brown has been in and out of problems with the legal problems and his situation years ago with Rihanna.
Right.
And now he seems to be doing well for himself. I mean, we don't talk about him as much in Celebrity Wire, so it seems like things have calmed down.
Right.
It's not as easy as it looks to folks, right? And so, what advice would you give based on your story?
Man, you know what? Just don't get distracted. You know what I'm saying? It's so easy to fall on it because it looks so nice. You know what I'm saying? It's like almost like you got the red pill and the blue pill, and you really you want the red pill, but that blue pill is like you're kind of curious. And I think everybody kind of has to fall on their face in order to realize it. I mean, to know why you don't want to take that blue pill. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody goes through it. Like you said, Charlie Wilson, Chris Brown. Everybody kind of goes through it. I'm glad I went through it, to be honest, and I'm glad I went through it earlier because now I'm 30, 31, and I'm focused. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about. I'm not in the club no more unless I really need to be there. Unless someone's cutting a check. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not drinking and partying crazy. I'm not going to putting myself in situations where I know I don't need to be at. I'm just go to work, come home to my girl, you know what I'm saying, eat a nice dinner and do it all over again tomorrow until, I don't have to really, do anything anymore.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Man. That's great, man. Man, what a great story. Mike Ho, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I got one person on the line I want to talk to you. Well, I got a few, but I'm going to take this one. It's Jose in Miami. Go ahead, Jose. Good morning.
Hey, Jose.
Yo, good morning, family. What up, Mike? Hey, Grace, Heather, QDB, Wonder.
All right.
Yo, hey, mad love, family. Yo, your story is really inspirational to me, Mike. Yo, Your work is dope. Editing is on another level. Angles, creative direction. You definitely deserve your success, man.
Hey, man, thank you, bro.
No problem, bro. Yo, I got a 2-part question for you because I'm actually a wedding photographer in Miami, man.
Gotcha.
So I got a big project coming up on the 13th in Cali. It's a huge celebrity wedding, and I'm not stunting in any kind of way because, unfortunately, it's not under my name. I'm shooting for another big production company out here in Miami. So due to contracts and whatnot, I'm probably not allowed to advertise what I shoot. I'm not even allowed to talk about it. But, the question is, what advice would you give to use it to my advantage and be able to hit the ground running? Because there's so much competition out here, and eventually, if you want to make it, you got to do pro bono work. You got to work for free. But at what point are you giving away too much work? When do you really know to start charging what you're worth and believe you should be getting paid?
Ooh,
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is a very great question. That's something you kind of just feel, bro. Like I've been in your position before, and then even though you're not this shoot that you're doing is not underneath the name, you got every outlet to utilize to. You don't have to post the work, bro. You got to remember, you got social media, you got Snapchat, you got Instagram. You might not be able to post the work, but you can damn well talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And people can see what you're doing and show what you're doing. You can post the photos too. It doesn't hurt to tag the people you're working with, man, because it's not the company at the end of the day. It's about the artist who took the photo. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter, bro. Like, I've signed to so many production companies and shot for so many people. They're never going to follow the company. They're going to follow the artist. So you're going to be all right regardless. You know what I'm saying? So they don't take the photo, you do. So.
All right, Jose, there you go, man. That's a tough $25,000 advice you got for free. All right, man, have a good day. Good luck to you, man. Social media is an effective tool to get your work out there.
Absolutely.
What do you think about the producers that have made, a name for themselves just using like phones to film their videos or using social media to show their work and maybe not have the experience you have or utilize the equipment you have, but been able to make away with it?
You know what? I salute them.
You salute it?
You know what I mean? As I salute it. I'm a different kind of artist. I don't. It's not something I would do. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, like, everybody has their art form and everyone does it differently. And to be honest, that stuff that they be doing be taking off. And I be working like 48 hours, 100 hours on a project. Like, yeah, this is gonna be fire.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. This is gonna be fire. And then this dude put out a video that he did on his phone that has no. I'm not saying that it's not creative. I don't want to take that away from the man.
Yeah.
But I'm saying,
there's
like,
no depth in it.
There's no depth. Or there's no like crazy lighting that and it'll be like 20 million views and YouTube star or cell phone star, Instagram star just signed a new contract, and I'm like, damn,
what the heck?
You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting. That's the world we live in today, right?
Yeah, because you battle constantly, I think, between trying to capture organic and then still following the technique.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And what's funny is that every concept I'm writing these days, like, some of the people I'm working with, whether it's the label or the client, they're like, I know it looks really good, but is there any way we can just throw something that's real organic? Can we just film here with no light? I'm like, well, then that's not who I am, though. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because if the professionals that I work with, they're going to look at them like, damn, Mike didn't have a budget to light Sway. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Sway look real dark.
Sway look real dark right now. There's no light on him. You know what I'm saying?
That's an interesting
so
dilemma.
It's like, yeah, it is. Mm-hmm. For me, it's like I can't go that route.
Yeah, you fight constantly.
The people that start off, like you said, with the iPhones or the producers and directors that are just shooting stuff on social media, they can do that because they started like that, and that's what their work and that's what they're known for. But I've created a certain brand that doesn't. Unfortunately, as much as I do want to do it sometimes, 'cause I like that quick check. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, I just can't because it'll compromise what I've built.
Yeah.
Integrity.
You don't want to do that. Mike Cole, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, listen, citizens, you tune in. If you've had to overcome adversity in your life, in your career, in your family, are you going through that now? And also, if you want to get into this world of video, photography, making movies, this is a great guy to connect with. So we're going to give out his social media. Anybody who's listening to this could reach out to him on social media and ask him questions. What's your social media, Mike?
Mike Ho _ MikeHO _ on Instagram. That's where I'm really at. You know what I mean? If you want, they got Instant Snap now, so
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
actually send me videos or whatever it is, and I'll answer your thing. But if you need to hit me on Snapchat, it's just Director Mike Ho.
Mike Ho. Director Mike Ho on Snapchat?
On Snapchat, yeah.
But Instagram is where you rocking.
Yeah, Mike Ho _ on Instagram. That's where I really, I pay attention to everything on there.
Mike Ho _ on Instagram. Hey, man, good to have you on, brother.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it,
Yeah.
man.
Absolutely,
This is
man.
a blessing, man.
Nah, man, it's definitely a blessing, brother.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, up next, we got Movie Junkies. And then from Ben-Hur, we got the new star Ben-Hur, Jack Houston, coming up next, too. Right after Movie Junkies, Sway in the Morning, Shade 4-5.
It's Sway in the morning. Only
On Shade 45.